So a couple of days ago, I was expecting my new Everlane treads that Everlane gave me and Lindsay, their brand new sneaker with a mission to make the world's lowest impact sneaker designed to last and built from the most sustainable raw materials available.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for my treads in the mail. I ordered blush ones because I thought it'd be fun to have like blush colored sneakers.
I think I ordered cream ones, like white.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did. And I was waiting for it and I got a box, like ding dong. It was FedEx guy. And he was holding an Everlane box and he handed it to me and I signed and I took it and it said treads on the outside and I ripped the box open because I was really excited for my treads and I was like, what are all these clothes? And I realized I had opened my neighbor's Everlane.
Humiliating.
Yeah. It was all these clothes and I was like, oh, they sent me all these random clothes. Interesting. And then I realized it was for someone else. And so I wrote a note that was like, sorry, I opened your mail, but I too was expecting Everlane. And he gave it to me and I thought it was my Everlane. And I was like, your friend in Everlane. We both love it. Love your neighbor. It was a deranged note, but we just all love Everlane.
The note was truly deranged. It was like, as an
I sent you
Everlane
that
lover
note.
also, like I wanted to get...
It was really embarrassing. And for those of you who don't understand why I was so excited, Everlane only makes premium essentials using the finest materials without traditional markups. They want you to know what you're paying for and why, which is why they tell you their real costs, and they're radically transparent about every step in the process, from the materials they use to the ethical factories they work with. And no matter your style or preference, Everlane's clothes look better, last longer, and cost less. And because they sell direct to you, their prices are 30 to 50% lower than traditional retailers. They have their cotton crew shirt. I have a bunch of those. I got their treads on the way. I got their jeans, which I love. All their denim shirts. I love all that. I have their little drawstring shorts, which I also love. Point is, you can check out our personalized collection at everlane.com/who. Plus, you'll get free shipping on your first order. That's everlane.com/who, W-H-O, everlane.com/who.
To be famous.
Welcome to Who Weekly, the podcast where you'll learn everything you need to know about the celebrities you don't. I'm Bobby Finger.
I'm Lindsay Weber.
Happy Memorial Day.
It's Memorial Day. Well, it's after. Hope your Memorial Day was long, fruitful. Hope you honored the troops.
I had a great Memorial Day
What
weekend.
do you do on Memorial Day? Honor the troops.
I went to Milwaukee.
Oh, not you. I mean you, the general you. I know what you did.
I went to Milwaukee. It was really fun.
Back
my
to
voice is
Milwaukee.
kind of gone. I'm worried that my voice did a lot of screaming, like hooting and hollering at a wedding last night.
What were you hooting?
Well, the person who got married is a singer, and so the venue was like very like it was at like a concert venue, and there was like a lot of screaming and like.
What were
Like,
you
were
personally
supposed
screaming?
to be like
You were just
woo, that literally.
But you
woo,
did that a lot?
over and over again. Yeah, because that was part of the thing.
Remember when I lost my voice in the middle of that party, like just right in the middle of the party?
Suddenly.
I think it was because, this is gross, but I think I like, you know when you like accidentally, a little bit of like bile comes up and you're like, oh, like, and you like kind of choke? I think it like burned my esophagus and then I like lost my voice immediately.
It was really funny. It was like talking to Lindsay, having a normal conversation, go get like a drink or come back, and she's like, anyway, and so like, anyway, so then I says to Mabel, I says,
It was honestly really,
Like, what?
It was really worrying because nothing had happened. I was like, nothing happened to me except like maybe I barfed a little, but I didn't barf. I just choked a little.
maybe a little bile.
I gotta say, I'm blaming Rebecca's punch, that vodka punch coming out of the water cooler.
I had one sip of that, and I was like, I'm good.
Right?
I'm good.
If this is what people drink at the office, like, no thank you, sir. Because I think that also was like, I was like, ugh, and then I lost my voice. And then I was like,
No, I
oh
had
no,
one
what if I
sip.
don't get my voice back before we tape next? Like, that's my one job.
Your one job. What if we both went mute?
What? Like,
Uh-oh.
like, just,
We'd have to come up with a new thing. Like,
Yeah.
just focus entirely on the newsletter. Oops. Well, we lost our voice, so it's entirely a newsletter. We're just going to come up with print. We're going to recreate print. It's just a new magazine,
yeah.
weekly.
But because we're
It'll come to your door.
we're shifting from podcast to newsletter, it would work.
No, that's fine. If you transition into print, it's fine. But if you're
Ooh.
existing print, you're old and you're
You know what we
stupid and you're a
could
dumbass.
do the podcast written, but then have other people play us. Like we would have like subs, like Harry and Meghan in the
Oh my
Lifetime
God,
movie
the
that's
new Harry
airing
and
tonight. Harry and Meghan.
Lindsay, play a clip here.
About 20 times a day, I am pinching myself thinking, is this real?
Meg, think the royals will ever really accept you?
The firm has been around for 1,000 years. You've known each other 18 months.
I'm not going to silence her.
I've been sent to keep you in line.
Daddy, you did stage those photos.
It's got to be hard to look at yourself in the mirror every day pretending to be a British royal.
Meghan, look at me.
I can't do this.
We can get through this, you and I. I love you, and you love me. And that's all that matters.
The Lifetime Harry and Meghan movie follow-up called Harry and Meghan, a royal... What's it called? A royal...
Becoming a royal?
Becoming
Isn't
royal.
it becoming royal?
Becoming royal. It would be like that, and you would have two people doing impressions of what we used to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And they would both be British, but they would be pretending to be American.
Right. We would hire either Australians or British people.
Off.
So they would sound a little weird. They would also pronounce things wrong just like we did.
It would be just a little bit strange.
I would write in my script, pronounce this incorrectly so that it would be like more authentic to me.
Oh my God. Not being on the podcast would make us do so much more work. You know?
Well, we would have to
prep these other people.
It. I know we'd have to do it with jokes. We'd have to say laugh here, laugh line, make this joke, make this pun.
What I find crazy is that, as you pointed out, they recast Harry and Meghan in the follow-up to Harry and Meghan,
What's
a
wild
Royal
about
Romance.
Harry and Meghan is that the first Harry and Meghan Lifetime movie, which was called Harry and Meghan,
a Royal Romance,
had two actors who, the Meghan looked like Meghan and the Harry did not look like Harry. Then I guess that Lifetime movie just made them too famous, just like Harry and Meghan themselves, or more like Meghan, and they had to
hire new people.
Recast them. I cannot believe I can't believe these two could not come back for the sequel, maybe because it sucked. So now you
went from Parisa Fitzhenley, who was originally Meghan, to who's new Meghan?
Tiffany Smith. She looks just like Meghan.
She looks a lot like Meghan. I wouldn't say just like Meghan. She looks a lot like Meghan. She looks more like Meghan than the original Meghan. The new Harry looks even less like Harry.
What's wild about Meghan and Harry is I think if you described Meghan, you could get a lot of girls that are gorgeous and look kind of like Meghan. But I think if you described Harry without actually seeing a photo of him, you get a lot of guys that look like a joke. You know? Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, a beautiful, biracial, dark hair woman. She's got kind of like freckles a little bit. Like she's got a look. And then I'm like, okay, Harry, he's redhead, balding British. You would just get like you get people that don't look like him and do not have his swagger that makes him attractive, I guess. Is he attractive? I don't know.
Well, Meghan has like, even like the freckles, you're right. She has like unique little characteristics. Harry really doesn't.
He's just a redhead British guy.
He's redhead, he's balding. You're right.
Right.
You're right.
So they'll get a
Harry.
British guy and they'll say, "Oh, we'll just dye his hair. We don't need he doesn't have to really look like him."
But I also think even more so than like how hard it is, like how he's sort of just kind of a generic looking person. I will say I think people just don't care about the Harry aspect. You know? People are more interested in the Meghan aspect, so they work a little harder.
Harry could be a cardboard cutout with a cardboard cutout. He could be CGI. They just don't have the budget.
No, CGI is expensive.
Yeah.
But you're right. He could be a cardboard cutout. He could be a stuffed animal, or he could just never be shown on camera.
Okay, that'd
be fun if they just never put him on camera.
Incredible. It's like
the whole bit is just you never see him.
Yeah, and then you don't see Harry because it's from her perspective.
It's like how you don't see the president in the first season of Veep. She's like, "What was that, Harry?"
From the other room, he's like, caviar and crackers or whatever.
Then you just get like someone who can do a British accent. Doesn't have to be a real British person to be Harry.
Why does it have to be somebody who's not a real British person? Do you think they're more expensive?
I'm saying it doesn't have to be. I'm saying it could be anyone, because all you need is the voice.
I know, but you act like British actors are more expensive or like harder to find when in fact they're not.
I guess not. There are actors everywhere. Okay. Come see us in Nashville. Come see us in Nashville this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I promise you. And then come to a podcast at I have the podcast panels at PodX. That's also going to be fun. So if you're in Nashville or the general vicinity, come and hang out with us.
It's going to be great to engage in panel culture for the first time in a while.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You know what else is great? Whiskey Cavalier was uncanceled. You know what else is bad? It was then recanceled again.
I thought we were going to have to eat crow, like Wendy Williams once did when she actually ate crow. She said, "I'm going to eat crow," and then she ate crow. Remember that?
Ate crow?
We've mentioned that on the podcast now 17 million times.
I don't have to eat crow. I don't have to drink whiskey. I don't have to find out who Whiskey Cavalier is because this show is dead, buried, gone, never to be thought about.
You know what's funny about Whiskey Cavalier? He's both. Do you know that? People keep saying
yeah, that was-
Lindsay and Bobby. Stop asking
He's
who
not.
Whiskey Cavalier is. He's both of them. I gotta say that sucks because
For what's her name? It sucks for her.
it sucks in Rizzoli and Isles and other Franklin and Bash. They each get their own name. She is anonymous.
That's really fucked up.
So Whiskey Cavalier, people thought was coming back. I honestly don't think it was coming back. I think that was a little bit of a weird. Every show that's canceled, everyone's like, please bring back my show, and they think it's gonna work. And let me tell you, AP Bio is not coming back. I'm sorry, but The Tick, I don't think it's coming back. These shows that are getting canceled, I'm sorry, I just don't think they're coming back.
All these cancellations, they're done with, algorithms. Me explaining cancellations. Algorithms. They see if people are watching them.
I just feel like we are exiting the era in which like a Netflix or a Hulu desperate or another channel desperate for like the fan whatever is going to be like, we'll take it. Because if
That
there's...
was a short window.
It was a short window. And pandering to fans has again and again not really worked. I don't think anyone watches Encino 911. What's it called? Reno? No, not Reno. Oh, what's it called?
Encino 911.
Sorry, what is a show called with Andy Samberg with the cops?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I don't think anybody actually watches that show.
I know people who watch it, and
but I don't think that show like it got saved. But I don't think it got saved and actually got more viewers. It's the same.
I thought it did.
I don't think so.
Point is, I don't even want to pretend like I know what's happening into the world of television. But I would like to believe that the executives who make the decisions are basing it on numbers. Whatever, they're not. They don't know anything.
I love that we're like suspicious of everything except for when they cancel Whiskey Cavalier. We're like, we respect the algorithms and the elders, and we respect their choices, and we love the business of television.
The only entertainment executive that I trust is Amy Pascal.
It's
Where
true.
did she go? She left Sony. She went somewhere else. She's gonna make it a hit.
But guess what? She's back.
She's going.
Into the Spider-Verse, only successful because of Amy. Don't tell
We've
me
said that
otherwise.
before.
It's only successful because of Amy. Are you kidding?
Amy Pascal's. I'm sorry if you don't work for Amy Pascal, your show's gonna get canceled,
you're
not gonna be able to complain.
I would pay anywhere up to $1,000 to read all the emails involving Amy Pascal and Spider-Man, just to see them, just to know.
I want to get one of those like spy movie mirrors of her phone, where I can just constantly see what's happening on her phone. Be thrilling.
Why are you punishing me?
I'd never look at my phone again. I just look at Amy's. I just look at Amy's being used.
Yeah, that's great.
That's I'm telling you right now, fucking patent it. Hello Sharks, my new idea, iPhone screen streaming. Twitch is over. It's all about seeing what people are doing on their phone.
So not just like messaging, but like everything.
Everything.
Like
you open up your phone to the world, and then you get a notification like Lindsay just unlocked her phone, and then you can like see what you're doing.
But you watch me like check the weather. You watch me check the call-in for tomorrow. You watch me play Design Home for 30 minutes. You watch me refresh Twitter and then close it. You watch me.
That's the new Twitch. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. Someone fell off. The wife fell off a cliff, Lindsay.
So
cliff wife.
I think the worst and best thing about being on vacation a little bit is like usually I'm pretty tuned into things, but if it's something that's just solely on Twitter, I sometimes lose track. So I logged into like both my chat rooms and I was like, who the fuck is Cliff Wife? Because people kept making jokes about Cliff Wife. I was
not on the phone. I was like at all these wedding functions, and then I was trying not to look at my phone. I was trying not to look at Twitter, and then I get a text that just said like, who Cliff Wife in the middle of the day, and I was like. And I thought it was a mistake, and I was like, I don't know who Cliff Wife is. And then I started. This is what I love about Cliff Wife, because like, just from the name Cliff Wife,
yeah.
And the way you asked who Cliff Wife, I was like putting the pieces together, and I felt like I had a pretty good like sort of like a blurry image that was slowly coming into focus of what Cliff Wife was, and I was pretty spot on. And it's one of those things where it's like, kind of it combines a few of the only good things about the internet, which are like harmless virality. That's like slapstick humor
where there's like no one dies, no one
falling
like
and no
goes
injury,
to jail.
which is very like olive crusher lady falling
Love to
and
fall.
a scream.
Yeah, Scarlett take a tumble.
Immediate jokes like turning it into memes.
And toxic masculinity, which is very in for 2019.
And wives.
Oh,
calling
wives.
out wives like curvy wife and elf wife and all the wives.
All the wives.
So
Email
it was combining
wife.
all these like actually fun things. Like there wasn't, like it wasn't like we didn't find out that Shonduras, who's the guy whose wife fell, it was like secretly a MAGA guy.
Not
you know,
yet,
like there
not
really
yet,
isn't
not
not yet.
yet.
There really isn't any darkness as far as we can tell. They're
yet.
sort of just like some boring Snapchat influencers.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this guy, he's on vacation with his wife and their friends, and he's famous on Snapchat. His name is Shonduras. He got famous on Snapchat. He's been called the very first Snapchat celebrity, like person who was created themselves on Snapchat.
What'd he do?
He does like he augments photos with like drawings. He like
like
sketches over
Spencer
photos.
does on Instagram.
Yeah. He's been called, quote, Snapchat's first homegrown celebrity. There was a time when he was making $100,000 a week. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Stick that on your cliff and drop it.
He makes a oh my God. So,
Sorry,
I
we're
don't really
not
pay
there
attention to Snapchat influencers, whatever. But this guy, he's like in his 30s, early 30s. He and his wife are on this like beautiful, like sort of beachy tropical vacation with some other people.
Sure,
obviously, they're
sure.
documenting everything. I
Sure.
don't know who's filming this, and I still haven't found out. Maybe you have. Someone is filming the whole family walk along this cliff. The whole group, not just family.
They
but
came with like a
group of
professional
friends.
photographer, like truly.
But they're all they all like
Yeah.
are GoPro people,
Right.
you know. And she's walking and she slips off this cliff. She tumbles and the camera follows her as she falls off the cliff, probably about 14 feet and onto like a rocky beach.
It's big
And
enough to be like, oh my God, are you okay? And to do like a little bit of an ankle sprain.
Like,
but it's not big enough to be like, call 911. Do you know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
a
she doesn't-
thin line.
and she
it's,
doesn't hit her head.
Right.
And she doesn't hit the rocks. It's extremely Olive Smasher Lady fall.
So the wife falls off the cliff. Oh, she tumbles. Oh.
This happened days ago. She fell off the cliff.
She falls off a cliff, but, you know, and any other normal person would be like, that's it. I fell off a cliff, funny video for the friends and family. She's fine. It's okay. These two, because the internet broke their brain long ago, immediately take out the GoPro, sit down on the side. She's like kind of
like,
rolling.
we gotta document it.
She's
We
kind of
gotta
like
talk about this.
seeing if she's okay. She's a little bit like flustered, and immediately press record on this.
And Jenny's alive. Still the best day ever?
Yep.
We have some wounds back here. We have some battle wounds right there. Some battle wounds in there. So survive on the edge right here. Wow. Are you good?
Yeah.
That was the freakiest thing that has ever happened to me, I think.
It's a 20-minute video, and they're sitting on their little, vacation getaway porch, and they're sitting in their chairs, consoling each other, talking about the story, laughing occasionally, talking about how, they're so lucky, how like fragile, delicate life is, and how we should all be thankful about everything. But I love the title. The title is all caps, Jenny fell off the trail. And then lowercase, scary moment for our family.
And I gotta say, this is the pull image, the what do you call it? The still that goes
Thumbnail.
with it, the thumbnail, kills me. It is a photo of her sobbing into his arms.
And he's consoling her.
And then there's a like different image superimposed with like a circle around it of her falling off the cliff. And they made clickbait with this. I'm clicking on this so hard. What's also crazy about this is that it has 500,000 views. Other stuff of theirs have more views. Like Cliff Wife for them wasn't even their biggest moment.
No, not at all.
You know?
I want to read. I don't know where he wrote this. I think he wrote it on his tweet.
Yeah.
When he shared the video, but he wrote, "I watched my."
Yeah, this is what made it viral. So
I watched my
we're not
wife
even at
fall
the
off a
part.
cliff.
We're not even at the part where it gets viral. This is what made it viral for Twitter. Go say it.
He
now.
said, "I watched my wife fall off a cliff." Ellipsis. You're spelled wrong. YOU apostrophe. Your whole world can change in a matter of seconds. So that goes viral. Then everyone's talking about Cliff Wife. They don't, this is again, and we can laugh about this because she's okay. I just love that we all decided to call her Cliff Wife. It's so disrespectful.
So disrespectful.
She's not Jenny. She's Cliff Wife, and she'll forever be Cliff Wife. But there were some really good jokes about Cliff Wife immediately. My favorite one, there are a few good ones where it's like, today is another wife day on Twitter. There's one, this woman, this is how I found out about it. Whenever you were like, who Cliff Wife? I searched Cliff Wife, and one of the first tweets that I saw was someone saying, crying, laughing alone in the car at all the different wives of online, just ruining my makeup. Curvy wife, elf wife, the wife who was emailed, the wife who fell off a cliff. Every day a new wife for us to guffaw about. An endless parade of wives. But my favorite Cliff Wife tweet was the one that I emailed you that said, Moby, parentheses, watching some other guy's wife fall down a cliff. Oh no, my wife.
which is like, if you don't, you might not get that, but you will if you stay tuned after we do this ad.
Why should we care about Billy? I don't know who Billy is. Is Billy Cliff wife? You'll have to tell me who Billy is.
Billy is not Cliff wife.
Is Billie Eilish? Who is Billy?
No, not Billie Eilish, although spelt the same way. Billy is delivering premium razors directly to you for half the price of what you'd find in the store.
I love that.
I don't know how you rank your Billies, but that seems pretty high on my list because women's razors can cost up to 15% more than men's.
That's true.
Isn't that messed up?
That's true. That's messed up.
So just go to mybilly.com to get their starter kit, including 2 razor cartridges, a handle, and their magic magnetic holder for the shower, which I have and love. Because then your razor doesn't like fall on the floor,
off.
which is gross.
Yeah, gross.
For only $9, you can get 4 refill blades every 1, 2, or 3 months based on how often you shave. Each razor cartridge contains 5 American-made blades encased in aloe shave soap for the smoothest shave that's gentle on sensitive skin. They also have more space between each blade to allow shave cream, soap, and hair to pass on by. They're in Allure Best of Beauty winner and Nylon's Beauty hit list because Billy is the brand that got women's razors right. So get free shipping always. You can skip, adjust, or cancel your subscription anytime. That makes it so easy. So go to mybilly.com/who so you can support the podcast while getting your best razor you will ever own for half the price of razors in the store. Plus free shipping always. So mybilly.com/who. That's MYBILLIE.com/who.
And now let's talk about Moby. Why do we care about Moby? Why do we care about Cliff? The point is we don't care about Moby. Why? Because he lied about dating Natalie Portman. Moby is a them. Natalie Portman is a them. But for some reason we're talking about this. He's behaving like a who.
I think that Moby is a who.
He might be a who.
I think
he
Moby
might be a
is a who.
90s them.
Moby hasn't
Early
had
2000s them.
relevancy for a very long time musically. He could have aged into being kind of like a Diplo guy because he was always doing production and remixing of other artists, right? He had his own thing, but he mostly worked with other artists. Like all of his biggest hits were featuring etc. But he didn't really continue on that journey.
No, he didn't. He like sort of, I don't know, synced into his books, into his like whatever. Like he didn't make music anyone cared about anymore, you know? Like he did his pop stuff, not pop stuff, but radio friendly stuff. And then like every album since, which I've listened to a lot of them, honestly. They're not that. I used to listen to Moby. Like when his new albums would come out, I would sometimes buy them and I would listen to all of them.
Yeah.
Would absolutely check them out. And they're just not the same. It's just like he's just doing, he has the freedom, I guess, at that point. Like he made his money. Now he can just like truly release whatever the fuck he wants. And that's what he did for a long time. And then he was like, no, I want to write a book. And then he did. And all the book did was get him in trouble.
Could you tell me Moby's real name?
It's not Cliff Wife.
No, it's still not Cliff Wife. Guess. Guess. Okay, here, I'll give
Toby?
you...
Toby?
No.
Tobias?
It doesn't rhyme with Moby.
Okay. Rick.
Oh, wait. How did you get Rick?
I don't know.
His first name is Richard. And his middle name is the last name of a famous author who wrote a book that I think Moby is named after. I just got it.
Rick Melville?
Yep. And his last name...
Oh my God.
...is, remember when Hipster Wife... Oh my God, Hipster Wife? Remember when Hipster Grifter had that saying and she said, I'm going to throw my hot dog down your blank blank. What was that? Do you remember this at all?
Like down your hallway?
Yes. His last name is the first part of that word.
Hot?
No.
What word?
Hall.
Oh, that's pretty good.
His name is Richard Melville Hall. I just got Moby. Wow, as I did that game.
He's Moby because of Melville?
I mean, I'm guessing.
I hate
How else?
That.
Okay, so
remember his Cribs episode where he shows off his bookshelf and he's like,
he's
it worries me that no one else on this show has a bookshelf. Like I had to show off my bookshelf. I remember that episode.
Hi, I'm Moby. Come on inside. This is my nice home here in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Trying to figure out where we should start our tour.
I've watched a few of these at cribs, and the thing that seems strange to me, it doesn't seem like anyone has a bookshelf. I'm kind of concerned that people aren't reading anymore.
So in case you don't remember who Moby is, and I feel like honestly that's not that crazy to say, is that Moby was a mid-aughts kind of pop artist.
Well, he was like more of like a housey ambient guy in the 90s, like
Right.
or like a he was just a housey ambient musician who
Right.
released like pseudo popular albums in that specific genre. Then he releases an album called Play, and it hits number
Blew
one and
up.
sells it sells billions and billions and billions of copies because every single song on it was licensed. So the reason Moby blew up is because that album was literally everywhere. It was used in movie trailers, it was used in commercials, it was used in television shows. Those songs were all over the place for like 4 years straight. And then that's like all he needed, you know? Like and in similar things happen with his earlier albums, like most iconically, in my opinion, Scream 1 ends with a song from Everything Is Wrong.
In my opinion.
A lot of those early Moby albums like were still featured. They were licensed to hell, but they weren't as like huge as Play. What was the song? First Cool High is the one that's in Scream.
Just stay with me. Hi, this is Gail Weathers with an exclusive eyewitness account of this amazing breaking story.
Several more local teens are dead, bringing to an end the harrowing mystery of the mass killings that has terrified this peaceful community, like the plot of some scary movie. It all began with a scream over 911 and ended in a bloodbath that has rocked the town of Woodsboro. All played out here in this peaceful farmhouse, far from the crimes and the sirens of the larger cities that its residents have fled. Okay, let's take it back to work. Come on, move it. This is my big shot. Let's go.
I really liked the South Side featuring Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani,
That was a good
yeah.
song for me. But Moby also was kind of known. He was a vegan, and that was like a big thing for him. And he had a restaurant called Teeny, TNY.
Okay.
And
fine.
he opened also a vegan restaurant called Little Pine in Silver Lake.
But he was a vegan whenever like broader culture thought vegans were like lame as hell and like they
Right.
would emasculate them and like was like you're a
Right.
fucking dumbass
Right.
baby.
Right.
And now veganism is like not really maligned the way it was. Like Moby was made fun of a lot, and it turns out it was understandably.
Well,
Like
so,
maybe in the 90s you'd be like, don't be mean to Moby, and
well,
now
it's
it's
weird
like be mean
because
to Moby.
Moby survived this long doing a lot of different things while only kind of getting kind of owned for different like just like stupid things like being vegan or like kind of being hipster or whatever. Like that was the main kind of thing. He wrote, this is not his first book. He's written a few books. He's written essays. He
loves to write.
Right. And so he wrote a memoir in 2016, and
Didn't read
then
it.
he wrote a book called Then It Fell Apart, and it was a memoir that was released this year, and it covered his life from 1999 to 2009, which is funny because it's like
when shit hit the fan.
But right, like what else was there to cover? Like what was the first one about? I guess like childhood or something.
Childhood and like his like housey music scene.
It was the
like
late
that New York-y
80s
scene.
till the
Yeah.
recording of Play in 1999. So he split up his life into two different books.
Mhm.
And this book came out, and I don't really think anyone would have cared about this book, which is I find really amusing. It's like
No.
people kind of would have let it pass by. Moby fans would have bought it, or maybe it, I don't know, like it could have stuff could have come out from it that was silly or little about the making of the album, because people do
Yeah.
still kind of do care about that album.
And there are people who like may not read anything, but they like reading celebrity memoirs. Like there are people who just love celebrity memoirs and they will read anything.
That's true. That's true. So Moby puts out this book. People don't really care, or you think that nobody would really care. And then it starts people start reading it, or somebody read it and writes that in his book, he talks about having a relationship with Natalie Portman. And the way that he writes about it is, do you have the actual text? What sucks is that this is in the book, so it's like he apologizes, but it's still published in this book, you know? It's not
It's
like
like
he
in the
gave this
printing.
interview randomly to someone and then it gets to apologize and be amended by publications. It's like in this book. By the way, this is another thing. A lot of people brought this up when this happened, was that, did you know, and you know this, Bobby, but our listeners, that most books are not fact checked.
Yeah, they're not fact-checked. That's the thing. And people assume that books are fact-checked, but they're not. Fact-checking is really, really expensive and time-consuming, and publishers don't want to pay for it.
Unless an author pays for a fact-checker, he will not get fact-checked. He or she will not get fact-checked. So that is the main issue here that we're dealing with. Which is a big deal, because then you have something like this where Moby says, I dated Natalie Portman, and then Natalie Portman's not getting a phone call from a fact-checker saying, did you date Moby or whatever.
Right, exactly. So let me just read the excerpt. I have it here. So he was performing something, and Natalie was there, Madonna was there, Gwyneth Paltrow was there. Then at the end of the show, he was backstage, and it's 1999. And he says, somehow a door had opened to this glowing golden world, and Natalie and Gwyneth and Madonna and David Letterman and Elton John were holding it open, smiling and telling me they loved me. If 19-year-old me, the punk rock philosophy major, could have seen what was going on, he would have been disgusted by my obsequious running dog pursuit of fame. Really, he would have asked, you're buying into the celebrity bullshit? Don't you know it's all facile celebration of commerce and mediocrity? And I would have said, but look, there's Natalie Portman, and she's being so nice to me. So Natalie Portman came up to him after this show, and they talked after the show, and he said they went to Donatello Versace's party together. They were in a limo together. Then later on in the book, he says that they kissed a lot on Harvard campus because she was in Harvard because she was only 18, and they would kiss, and they had a couple moments and they dated. And then Natalie Portman finds out that this is in the book because obviously she didn't read it. He didn't send it to her and be like,
well, the
hey,
story
do you care
is
that I'm
kind
writing
of
about this?
I mean, did you read the full excerpt? No, the story is kind of weird. He paints her to be basically the manic pixie dream girl that she is in Garden State. It's very strange. He doesn't understand why she's coming on to him, but she's like, Moby, come backstage and I want to come backstage and talk to you and da-da-da. It claims that and then he claims that they dated or whatever, whatever dating means.
So then Natalie Portman responds to this in Harper's Bazaar, and she says, I was surprised to hear that he characterized the very short time that I knew him as dating, because my recollection is that a much older man being creepy with me when I just graduated high school. He was on tour and I was working, shooting a film, so we only hung out a handful of times before I realized that this was an older man who was interested in me in a way that felt inappropriate. She points out that she was 18 when they started hanging out, not 20, because apparently in the book he writes that she was 20 years old. Then Moby, because he's digging himself a hole, says, Natalie, we dated. And then his proof is a photo of him shirtless, side-hugging Natalie, which is a shirt. I mean, a photo that you could take with anyone. There's nothing remotely sexy, romantic, or intimate about that photo.
His response was I recently read a gossip piece wherein Natalie Portman said that we'd never dated. This confused me, as we did in fact date. And after briefly dating in 1999, we remained friends for years. I liked Natalie and I respect her intelligence and activism. But to be honest, I can't figure out why she would actively misrepresent our albeit brief involvement. So that albeit brief, I think, is the main thing here. Is they hung out a few times. Maybe he saw them as dates. Maybe she didn't. When it started getting a little bit more romantic, maybe that's when she was never mind, when he thought, oh, we've been dating this whole time. Am I right?
Then he got so much backlash that he fully apologized for it on Instagram in a photo that says, from Moby, an apology. And then he's like, I read all the criticisms, blah, blah, blah. It was truly considerate of me to not let her know about her inclusion in the book beforehand, and equally inconsiderate of me for not to fully respect her reaction. I have a lot of admiration for Natalie, for her intelligence, creativity, and animal rights activism, and I hate that I might have caused her and her family distress. So he apologized. Apparently it's not going to be in the future printings of the book.
Oh, really? Know. Oh, that's interesting.
I think that's because the way that he writes about it sort of suggests that it's not going to be in the future printings, although who knows if it's probably going to get a second printing. So
I
that's
always
where
forget
it all ends.
this, but apparently Moby, and I'm just Googling around and I'm seeing this now, he apparently makes a lot of weird statements to blogs. He apparently is kind of known for that, a lot of lies. He said he might have accidentally helped create the iPod and the iPhone in an interview with The Guardian. I mean, he's just done this, I guess, a lot.
Moby's been in the right before. He was just in the wrong here, but the way that he was in the wrong was so dramatically in the wrong.
Right.
And the way there was such an easy way to apologize for this behavior, because on the grand scheme of inappropriate relationships, it's kind of on the lower end. And even Natalie admitted that. She was like, I realized this relationship was creepy, so I ended it, and that's it. So he could have been like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I saw this as something else, but obviously she didn't. Let's move on. I'm sorry. I should have checked with her. There were so many ways to get past this where this wouldn't have been a thing. And again, he didn't do them. which is what says, which him not doing those follow-up things says more about his character than what is actually written in the thing. You know,
apparently, and this is something I also kind of vaguely remember, is that like New York media was obsessed with Moby at a certain point, maybe in like the mid 2000s. They just like wrote about him nonstop, like Gawker, Vulture, Page Six, all of that. Like really talked about.
He's always around.
He just kind of. But he was also one of those guys that would always show up and do weird things in ways that were intriguing to the press. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and also that he would kind of fight back against stuff. He was always like around in. When the indie band scene was big, like he also kind of floated around that a lot. He's just one of those guys that's always like putting his foot in his mouth, I guess.
But before we move on, let's talk about one more anecdote from the Moby book, which is that he also dated Lizzy Grant. Who's Lizzy Grant? Lana Del Rey's original name.
Dated. He met her.
They kissed a couple times.
Okay.
They kissed a couple times, and they went on one date to a vegan restaurant.
Well, of course they did.
Although, again, Moby wrote this, so take it with a grain of salt.
Also, this is about Lizzy, so who knows what Lizzy's, kind of identity was.
Lana might not even recognize that Lizzy ever existed, okay? Here we go. So, again, because Lana, New York girl, or is she from Connecticut? She was like a New York scene-y person.
Lana is from Connecticut. Lana's from New York, but Lizzy might be from Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
Lana's from Malibu, California.
Oh, no, she's from California.
Lizzie's from New Jersey.
But like music scene, trying to on the come up in the music scene, it makes sense that they would interact.
Right.
Okay, sure. But again, take it with a grain of salt because Moby wrote it. He writes, "We'd kissed at the bar at 4 a.m. just as the place was closing, and I'd asked her to come home with me. She smiled and said no. She wouldn't go home with me after just meeting me, but she would happily go on a date if I called her and asked her out. I called her the next day, and we talked for 30 minutes about music and politics and growing up in the suburbs. Ugh, I'd love to have that conversation with Lana." And then they meet at a vegan restaurant. This is 2006. Then blah, 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 blah. This is another excerpt. Lana says, "Do you have a piano?" Moby says, "They're in his apartment." He says, "Yes, back on the second floor." And Lana goes, "Floors in an apartment? Moby, you know you're the man." And Moby says, "Ha, thanks." And Lana says, "No, not like that. You're a rich wasp from Connecticut, and you live in a 5-level penthouse. You're, quote, the man," as in stick it to the man, as in the person they guillotine in the revolution. And then Moby writes, I didn't know if she was insulting me, but I decided to take it as a compliment." This is how lacking in self-awareness he is.
Honey,
Lana was like, "You suck."
She's insulting you.
Like, there's no subtext there. She's like calling you an asshole that she has no respect for.
She's insulting you. And
he's like, oh, I'm horny. Yeah. Cool.
I really like also now that the Daily Mail, now that we care about Moby for like a hot minute, the Daily Mail writes, "Moby enjoys low-key lunch date with mystery blonde in LA amid controversy surrounding tell-all memoir. Do you know Moby's mystery woman? Email tips@dailymail.co.uk."
They're trying.
How do you measure yourself? Play was your biggest hit, right? Mm-hmm. You've never topped that since.
No.
Why?
That's a good question.
You keep saying that. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Anyways, Moby is back, but also we don't care that he's back. Is Moby a who or them? He's a who, right?
He's a who now. He's a who. I'm sorry, he's a who.
Yeah.
You know who's back?
Who? Ben?
No.
Who?
Helena Bonham Carter.
She's back?
Bonham is back.
Bonham is back. Helena Bonham Carter, them, but new mystery man that she's dating who's a few years her junior.
I love it when a famous sort of like middle-aged celebrity starts dating a younger academic. Hello, Nari Oxman. Hello.
Oh, I mean, Neri Oxman, but like, do we even know if that happened? Neri Oxman is still a mystery.
I mean, maybe they went to a vegan restaurant and talked about like politics for 30 minutes on the phone.
Right. Like, did they date?
I don't know.
Or did they
We're
talk
talking
about
Neri Oxman and Brad Pitt?
Now the real question is with this Moby thing is like, did they quote unquote date, or did they just talk about growing
politics
up in the suburbs and veganism for 20 minutes on the phone?
I mean, yeah, I don't know what it takes for Moby to actually categorize something as a romantic relationship.
We should start saying things, or did they date, or was it a Moby date?
Or was it a Moby Natalie?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a Moby Lana? Moby Lizzy?
A Moby Lizzy.
Is this a Moby Lizzy situation?
No, so
I think
this one is not because they've been seen
this
many
is real.
times together.
They are like holding
They're
hands.
holding hands. They're
PDA.
embracing.
Holding hand doesn't necessarily mean we're romantically connected, but there's some intimacy there that's not like Moby shirtless side hugging Natalie Portman, you know?
I also appreciate this because Helena Bonham Carter was with Tim Burton for a long time. Remember the iconic reports of them living in separate houses connected by a
Yes.
tunnel? Love that.
Yes.
Love that for anyone, but honestly, love that for them.
Mostly for them.
I think towards the end, things got a little bit too serious, a little bit too eccentric, a little bit too dramatic, and so they broke up, which seems like healthy.
You're describing Helena Bonham Carter.
Right? And then she found this younger PhD candidate.
He's an art historian in London. He works at a university. His name is, what is it, Lindsay?
Rye Dag Holmboe.
It's an Anglo-Scandinavian
Let's
name.
break this name down. Rye as in the bread. Dag as in dag. That looks like
Dag.
some good rye bread.
And Holmboe as in I'm Scandinavian.
As in Norway? Hello? Anyone?
Holmboe as in my stomach can't handle any spice.
As in I'll take the rye with just butter. Thank you very much.
Holmboe as in I need SPF 1000.
So you can relate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
you Google him and it's like, honestly, sort of boring. Like when you Google him, when you do the like pro Googling where you're like Rye Dag Holmboe minus Helena Bonham Carter so you don't get all the messy new stuff. It's just like, oh, he interviewed some artist about an art. Oh, he like did an art thing in the art review. Oh, he works at this place. Oh, he had a LinkedIn, but he stopped updating it when he got a better job at the university. Like that's it. He's just a boring university guy, which is, again, I love that sort of celebrity moment.
also
Sometimes it lasts, sometimes it doesn't.
For some people, you also get, not me, but a lot of people with who are very, have long family trees / histories, you get these amazing kind of like heritage sites, hundreds of them, that have his name because he, TBD unclear, but might be related to this Norwegian politician from the 1800s.
Whose name is
Jens.
Jens, Lindsay. Jens Holmboe.
And there's
Jens
another one named
Holmboe.
Johan Henrik Rye Holmboe. But it's confusing. It's hard to trace this because you tell me, I know there are a lot of genealogist people out there who are really good at this, genealogy people who are good at this, but because his name is the last name, his name is Rye Dag Holmboe, it's hard to put where he is in this family because everyone else's last names are Rye Holmboe, if that makes sense.
But when you read about him on the Daily Mail, a few instances they call him like the son or like the heir to a wealthy like Anglo-Scandinavian family.
They might just be
And
guessing as we are, to be
They also
honest.
might be guessing.
Right.
But I mean, look at him. Look at his
him.
name.
Look at him.
Look at his credentials.
The best part
this guy
about this,
sounds like
though-
he came from a wealthy Scandinavian family.
Yeah, the best part is this Daily Mail. There's a few Daily Mail things, but I will say the best one is Bobby found one from a few months ago of
When they first started PDAing.
when they first started PDAing out on the town.
And they went out on a date in London town and they wanted some lunch. They were getting a little peckish. And so they stopped at an outdoor cafe. You know, Helena, all eyes on Helena. She was wearing a Brexit is bollocks sticker on her puffy jacket. And she's like making a political statement. And she's holding hands with this younger beau. And they stop for lunch. And they order some, a delicious,
Wait,
healthy
just read the headline.
salad. A healthy salad with some, thinly sliced, zucchini noodles.
Stop.
And there's a photo of her holding up a noodle to her mouth and she's kind of sucking it, but it's zucchini. It's not like a normal pasta noodle. It's like a long vegetable noodle.
You're dragging
and her
this
eyes
out.
are closed. And she says, the caption says, however, it proved difficult to eat with any grace, and she resorted to holding one end of the green vegetable sliver above her head while sucking the other between her lips. It's a great Daily Mail article.
The headline is good. It says, Helena Bonham Carter, 52, sports a bollocks to Brexit sticker as she steps out with boyfriend Rye Dag Holmboe, 32,
Rye Dag. ...
but struggles with a courgette spiral during al fresco lunch date. Struggles with a courgette spiral. Aren't we all just really struggling?
I'm struggling with the
with
courgette spiral as we speak.
Let's move on.
That sounds like something that makes you, like, it's like, oh, I need some, I don't know, Imodium. Like, what do you need when you're struggling with the courgette spiral?
I mean, whenever I'm
Something for
struggling
GI
with
health.
food, I need a Tums is what usually is the case if
yeah.
we're going to talk about struggle.
I like There's photos of her laughing, and it says, upbeat. Despite the current state of British politics and the inevitability of Britain's departure from the European Union, Helena was high in spirits while chatting with her new boyfriend.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And you wonder why the UK cannot figure out how to do Brexit. It's because of shit like that, you know? We're focused on other things.
Absolutely. But despite the current state of British politics and the inevitability of Britain's departure from the European Union, we have to talk about Catherine Scorsese.
Unfortunately.
Her basement flooded.
This is a tough situation. Here's what happened. Catherine Scorsese owns a $1.4 million Brooklyn loft, which she did buy for $800,000 in 2000 something or another. But it is worth a lot more.
Back when that was still market, but that was still expensive in 2008.
It got flooded with poopy from upstairs.
Also poopy from downstairs. I mean, it's the poopy from the building.
So the poopy came in and just flooded poor Catherine.
I don't want anyone's poopy. I don't care if it's upstairs or downstairs poopy.
Apartment. And Catherine Scorsese's half-sister, who thought she was doing a nice thing, started a GoFundMe for her half-sister, Catherine Scorsese, and said, please, my Catherine's loft is flooding with poop. I need help. She needs help to put her animals, I don't know, somewhere while she stays, because she had insurance. She has insurance, it claims, but the insurance wasn't going to pay for housing for her animals. She has all these animals. And then everybody was like, Scorsese, excuse me, I don't think we're going to give you like $10,000 for you to fix your fucking $1 million apartment if your father is Martin Scorsese.
Call him Martin Scorsese, even if they don't have the closest relationship, which I really can't tell. They've worked together in the past. Marty's given her some work on his movies before, but like small little things. Mm-hmm. They have a relationship up until like the most recent thing I can find, not about poopy part, like the poopy basement, is some stuff from a few years ago where he acted in a movie kind of as a favor. This little like weird online only movie that honestly I can't even. It's so insignificant it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But like they have some sort of relationship. But apparently she doesn't get financial help from him. Didn't she say, like, I paid for this myself? I don't get paid by my...
Right. So
I don't have a trust fund.
The target was supposed to be $30,000. It got shut down around $6,000. They raised
$6,000, yeah.
I think it got shut down when people were kind of like, this is a little bit too much, which I understand. A lot of people are asking money for a lot of different things. Even if she wasn't Martin Scorsese's daughter, I would say asking for money because your insurance company won't pay for a big enough place for your animals is a little
It's low on the totem pole.
Yeah.
It's low on the totem pole.
Yeah. And then you happen to be Catherine Scorsese. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little tone deaf is what it is.
A little.
But even Catherine didn't even make it. Her half sister did. It's tone deaf on the half sister's.
I know. Did you not ask Kathy? I mean, you're kind of supposed to ask the questions. I was gonna say it's kind of tone deaf like Martin Scorsese's recent, and then I couldn't think of a thing that he said. Oh, Vinyl. Tone deaf like Martin Scorsese's recent HBO show Vinyl that was canceled after one season. Ooh, that's rude.
That's a little rude.
Did you watch Vinyl?
Did I watch Vinyl? I watched one episode of Vinyl.
Well, you know.
What the fuck is this?
It's the new tall.
The new tall? You asking him or you telling him?
It's
Come on. Whoa.
In case you haven't heard, the deal with Polygram is off. We're not selling the company. We'll be trimming our roster. And less artists means less need to kiss the asses of those artists, so 40% of our support staff will be let go.
That's right.
What about us?
Who, us?
A&R.
You're all fired, effective immediately.
Let's move on to one more thing before we do Rita.
This cracks me the shit up. Can I just read this one headline for you?
Yes, please.
Because sometimes stuff comes up from Australia. You know, we talk about it and we're just like, what is going on in Australia? Can somebody just fucking translate this for me into English, even though they speak the same language as me? Here's one. Quote, some might call this a sad day. The Bachelor's Heather Maltman quits her Gold Coast breakfast radio job to pursue an acting career in China. So I first read this and I was like, you got to do the Mad Libs. You're like, who, what, where, when, high. So you're like, how? Why? How?
Who,
so
what,
like,
when, where? I'm high. Is that what you said?
I'm not high, but I will be in an hour. So the Bachelor's Heather Maltman. She was a contestant on a season of the Australian Bachelor.
Yes.
Who, what? She quit her job as a breakfast radio host. Okay.
Which is a great job. Who wouldn't
Sure.
want a breakfast radio job?
Where? Australia. Why? Because she wants to pursue an acting career in China. Okay, how? Apparently, she wrote that this year I sold a TV show about me trying to make it big in China to China. I think she sold it in Australia, but then
like a Chinese television company?
No, I think the show is about her trying to make it big in China, and she's actually trying to make it big in China.
Oh,
but then
that's
the
fun.
show is
She
in
said,
Australia.
this year I sold a TV show about me trying to make it big in China. That's a fact. Actually going to try it, make it big in China. That's her quote. I'm going to read that again. Okay, everyone, pull up a chair. This is me, like imagine Lisa Lopez. Do the math. Get ready to do the math.
Yeah.
Get ready to listen to this woman. This year, I sold a show about me trying to make it big in China. That's a fact. Actually going to try and make it big as an actor in China. Okay. Okay, so she's going to China, and she's going to try to make a show about her trying to make it big in China, which is otherwise known as a reality show.
Yeah, but it's
sold a reality show.
Australian reality show about her trying to make it big in China, and she's saying, well, I actually really am trying to make it big in China, as my reality show implies.
Okay. I gotta say, I don't really know what to expect from this, because she says she wants to make it big as the Daily Mail editorializes it and says that it's her wanting to be an actor, but it could easily be a reality show.
No, but the reality show is about her trying to become an actor in China.
Oh my God.
Maybe she'll take the Jessie J. Maybe she'll be like a Jessie J situation.
What does that mean? She'll start singing? She'll marry Channing Tatum? Become big in China suddenly.
China.
Well, we don't even know what this woman's talent is. Jessie J has a very obvious talent.
Her talent
and she was
is
on a
clearly
show.
being on The Bachelor and talking at early in the morning, which
that's good.
Wouldn't most of us love any of those talents?
I would. I really would. What I will say is I actually hate Heather Maltman.
I hate her.
Did you see this line?
In December 2018, Heather revealed she tried out for the role of Batwoman, but producers decided to cast Ruby Rose instead.
No, that's not why I hate Heather Maltman.
Why?
I hate her because of this line from the Daily Mail story. She's talking about how she's also going to start a podcast. And she says, as I look towards a podcast, otherwise known as unemployment, you have to take risks to get what you want. Heather, it's employment. Not only is it employment, it's full employment. Heather, it's full employment.
Tell my accountant, Richard, that this is unemployment, okay? Because I'm paying taxes on this thing.
Paying a lot of taxes
Am
on
I
this
right?
thing, Heather.
Heather, you know nothing about a podcast. I'd like to see you try, okay?
I don't want to see her try.
I'd like to hear you try.
At least I get to walk away knowing I was true to myself. I did the right thing. I cared about him open-heartedly. And I haven't done that with a guy before. That's the only part of me that's hurt. But I guess that was the risk I took. So it's okay.
One more Daily Mail headline and I'm just going to say it and we're going to give no context and we're going to move on, okay? To Rita. Michael Caine, 85, returns to Tramp nightclub with his wife Shakira, 75, ... 48 years after they met at legendary London venue, parentheses, where actor also got punched in the face by George Best, parentheses.
So we're not going to come, or we're just going to move on?
Well, maybe we'll do the who, what, where, why, how, and then move on.
Do the who, what, when, where, how, wow.
Who,
and then we
Michael Caine and his wife Shakira.
Okay,
who has no last name aside from Shakira Caine.
Got it.
Who what? Returned to Tramp nightclub 48 years after they met.
Got it.
Why? Oh, because they returned 48 years after they met just to hang out.
Yeah.
When? This year.
Uh-huh.
How? How did they get there? I don't know. And then
you're the one who put it in there. How
would be where actor also got punched in the face by George Best, which is apparently a classic tale that the Daily Mail famously got punched.
No, what it is, Lindsay, it's who, what, when, where, huh. So
is
it'd
that
be
our
who,
version?
Michael Caine and Shakira. What returns where? To Tramp nightclub, a legendary London venue. Huh? Where actor also got punched in the face by George Best. That's what it is. Who, what, when, where, huh? Because we'll never know the why. We can never answer the why. Don't come here if you want the why. Don't go to Daily Mail if you want the why. Go there if you want the huh.
George famously kicked off his autobiography, The Good, the Bad, and the Bubbly, 1990, with the immortal line, I punched Michael Caine on the floor in Tramp one night.
What do you think about Fleur?
I know that it makes you smell good, and God knows it's summer, so I'm going to need a little bit of scent.
Let's do the who, what, when, where, huh about Fleur. Who? Fleur. What? A company that makes stunning, non-toxic perfumes and lists all their ingredients online. They're all about good, clean, fun. When? Now. Whenever you want it. Whenever you want it. Where? I'll tell you where. Fleur.com. PHLUR.com. Huh? You need the huh?
What's the huh?
Every Fleur is gender-free. They're completely transparent. They tell you everything in their perfumes. And they just introduced a body wash and body lotion in the same scent so you can smell amazing all the time. I love that.
Can I add on an extra one?
Yeah.
How much?
Well, if you use promo code WHO, WHO, you will get 20% off your first custom Fleur sample set. You pick 3 cents to try and get credit towards a full-size bottle of your favorite. That's promo code WHO, WHO at Fleur.com to get your first 3 Fleur fragrances at 20% off. PHLUR.com.
What was she wearing? Where was she seen? She posted what on Instagram? She's the Who Queen. Tens of people want to know all about the number one Who. Lizzy, Bobby, tell us now. What's Rita Ora up to?
Who is this woman?
Okay, so what is Rita up to?
Weirdly, a lot.
She's up to so much. This live show is getting tremendous reviews. Everyone loves it. We're seeing
when is this
amazing
live show
content on
coming
Twitter.
to New York? I gotta see this live show. She apparently goes in the air.
She goes in the air. She has wings.
She has special guests.
She has Phoenix wings.
Phoenix wings. Special guests like Charlie XEX and Sean King. Nope. Sean Paul. Sean Paul.
That's great.
I know. And
she's gonna have great guests. She's gonna have great guests if she comes to New York. She's
Guardian
gonna come to New York, right?
Gave her an amazing review.
They gave her 4 out of 5 stars.
She spends a glorious 90 minutes delivering high-octane hits. It's a little bit short. Resplendent in a bejeweled mini dress and iridescent knee-high boots. She moves with confidence. And sings with precision, sustaining lively, often provocative dance moves without missing a note.
Sings with precision. Oh my God. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's incredible. And also, you said 90 minutes isn't enough. I think it's enough. I just want her hits. I don't want like deep cuts from Rita.
Well, she has limited inventory.
Yeah, that's true. I think 90 minutes is perfect. So she was at Cannes. We talked about how she was at Cannes doing some Magnum ice cream PR. She loves dipping the ice cream just like everyone. While she was in Cannes, she was wearing a lot of expensive, fancy jewels. And there was a courier who was supposed to be moving the jewelry back from Rita to the luxury brand. And I'm quoting, I believe, page 6 here. The courier who was tasked with transporting the jewelry loaned by the luxury brand forgot her carry-on luggage on her plane at the airport in Nice, France, after the ride from London, according to Agence France Press. By the time she realized the plane had already taken off on the way to Luton. Oh. A police source told Page 6, someone with their head in the clouds nearly lost several million. They got it back. It's fine.
Wait, so where was this jewelry just sitting?
It was just sitting on the plane.
Just sitting on the plane.
I think it was just sitting, or they captured, or they found, because they cleaned up the plane before. It was probably lost and found.
That's crazy. If you would think you wouldn't forget the one thing.
The one thing your job is
to mind is
it's
this.
It's literally you had one job.
$4
It's
million.
the you had one job meme. It's the you had one job meme.
And of course, Rita Ora's name is involved in this. Of course, Rita Ora is involved in this. I mean, she had nothing to really do with this, but did she? I don't know. Is it a heist?
Oh,
Maybe.
It's fine. Her name's just on it. Her name's just on it.
Maybe.
The last thing that she's up to is we talked about her being at the Radio 1's big weekend, but she turned up the heat in a pink plate. She turned up the heat in a pink blazer-style bodysuit and racy fishnet tights while doing so. She looked cool.
When doesn't she look cool?
She looked extremely cool.
She always looks cool. Rita Ora, she's always looking cool.
I'm trying to find a really good caption. It says, Racy, the Anywhere songstress, put on a typically sizzling display for her energetic set as she highlighted her lean legs in vibrant fishnet tights.
Her lean
turning
legs.
up the heat in
Slim
Rita's
pins
true
and
kooky
they
fashion.
said lean legs and not
Lean
slim
legs.
pins.
Well, they're
What
done with
happened to them?
They'd met their slim pins quota for the day.
Do you think so?
Yeah. The alarm went off. It was like ding 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 ding. No more slim pins. No more slim pins.
And then they're like,
switch on to lean
legs. Lean legs is not as kind of
That's why it's
fun
second tier.
as slim
That's why it's second tier.
pins.
But it says, turning up the heat in Rita's true kooky fashion. The singer boasted her physique in a pair of mismatched pink and orange PVC thigh-high boots.
Mismatch, but on purpose because it's Rita.
Of course, it's Rita. She does everything on purpose. She's great. But we got to see her. We saw a lot of good videos of her UK tour this weekend. So she's like turning it up a few notches, which I think is fun. But are you kidding? I would pay $50 to hear her sing I Will Never Let You Down for 90 minutes. Sing one song over and over again.
$50, I would pay more for that. I would be like, Rita, just sing that song, please.
Rita, sing that and the Pokemon song. Okay, but we're done. So thank you for listening. Follow us on Happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/whoweekly. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Come see us in Nashville. It's going to be so much fun.
Check out our merch.
Our merch, 619-WHO-THEM, to leave questions, comments, concerns for our Friday show, which is the call-in show. And we will see you on Friday. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
You will dream it.
They want to know.
Hey.
Mia.
Hey.
Mia. Come on.
Hey. I want to be famous.
Okay, look at me.
I can't do this.
We can get through this, you and I. I love you, and you love me.